Hello and welcome to the Patience to Prosperity podcast, where we learn how to act in opposition of our limiting beliefs in order to reach our fullest potential. Hey guys, it's your host Lizzie. Welcome back to the Patience to Prosperity podcast. I'm so happy to have you here today and to rein in this new year with all of you guys. If in this new year you want to step into your power, you want to see how much you're capable of and what it's actually like to live this life fully as yourself, to meet yourself fully, to take a playful approach, actually enjoy the fruits that you worked so hard to grow last year, then this episode is the one for you. I'm going to start off this episode with kind of explaining my inspiration for it. So stick with me here because it's going to all come around full circle. So yesterday I was meditating a little bit about my inner child, that little girl inside of me, that little child that we all have inside of us, that we for some reason feel so separate from. We feel like it's so hard to tap into that childlike version of ourselves because of so many reasons, because of how society is built, where we are kind of just robots, where they wire it into us that you have to work as hard as you can in order to be worthy of play, in order to actually deserve play. When in reality, the entire reason why we were created was to enjoy this life. This life is a gift, and hustle culture often shakes us and takes us further away from that purpose, the simplicity of life. And so I kind of just wanted to give you guys a tiny little inside scoop of younger me and what I realized through this that will connect to the entire rest of this episode. So stick with me here. So younger Lizzie, she was bold. She grew up with 3 older brothers and my sister who has Down syndrome. And I always had this thing in me where I was hyper independent, even from when I was little. My mom and all the adults around me would always say that I was whatever age I was, going on 25, going on 30. And honestly, the older that I get, the more that it hurts when people make comments about me acting older than I actually am. And, oh, you're so mature for your age, or, oh, you're so wise beyond your years. And all that is good and great, but I got to this point a few years ago where I was just like, I robbed myself of a childhood. Like, I just wanted to be a kid. I really just wanted to be a kid. And now I'm physically in my adult body. But that doesn't mean that we can't embody that childlike self. So today we're going to learn how to do that together. Going back to younger me, little story time for you guys. So I played t-ball when I was younger. And during t-ball, and I'm not even kidding guys, I would be next at bat. And I would literally run to the nearest playground at the field that we were playing at. And I would just go play there instead. Mid-game. And it's so funny because this is one of the most vivid memories of little me that I have in my brain. Because honestly, I feel like we all probably feel this way. When you think about yourself as a child, it's so hard for you to actually think about the person that you were because you're so different now and you see the world so differently. So what we truly remember from those youthful versions of ourselves was maybe our experiences through our own lens, through our own perceptions, looking into the world, instead of what was going on in our inner world. We don't remember all that stuff. But this memory I really do remember vividly. And it kind of just brings me to this idea of how we always place so much restriction, so many rules and structures around play, when in reality, play is supposed to be fun, it's supposed to be enjoyable, it's supposed to be whatever we want it to be. And by trying to make it something else, you're taking away from it. Before we dive into more inner child stuff, I want to remind you guys that my second season of this podcast was all about healing your inner child. That was the whole theme of season 2. So go back to season 2 if you resonate with a lot of the things that I'm saying today. Anyways, going back to little childhood Lizzie. I think it's really important to note that one of the reasons why I thought about this was because lately with the podcast, I've been realizing that I've been putting too many structures around it. Instead of just letting myself play, instead of letting myself post whenever I want to, I'm thinking about algorithms and I'm thinking about, what my audience wants and what they like. And the truth is, if you are someone who is a content creator or just creates art of any sort and puts it out into the world, you know that the audience always has to come last. And I don't want my listeners right now, you guys, to take that as kind of a jab at you, because it's not. Obviously, I'm so grateful for you guys. But at the same time, I can't let out my most authentic version of what I have to say if I'm only thinking about what you may need to hear and what would resonate with you, because you're not outwardly telling me what to say and what not to say. It's all coming from my heart. And that's not to say that my past episodes haven't been from my heart. They always are. But I feel like it's really easy to put those limits on myself and to limit my creativity by thinking about what people are expecting from me, what they want more of. And instead, I could just be asking myself, what feels true to me right now? What do I want to get off of my heart? What can I channel most authentically to you guys in this moment? And today, I'm going to fully embody that. So expect a lot more Lizzie in this new year. Expect me to sit on this mic a lot more authentically, more myself. It's going to feel more like a conversation between you and me. I feel like before I had it in my head that, I really want to help people heal, right? Like that's what this whole podcast is about. But at the same time, I was going back to the whole beginning of my healing process, and I was trying to help people from that beginning version. And what I realized is that people will reach you exactly where you are right now. You don't need to take 5 steps back so that you are a more dimmed down version for them and you're more digestible, more chewable for them to understand you. Because if you have to shrink yourself in order to align with someone, then you don't actually align with them. You picking up what I'm putting down? So, with that being said, I just had these limiting beliefs that I can't talk about myself on this podcast. Like, that's not what you guys want to hear. And the truth is, I had this realization that just felt like a slap in the face the other day where I was like, bitch, this is literally your fucking podcast that you built with your own fingertips from the ground up. Like, you can make this whatever you want to. And I want you guys to take my podcast analogies that I'm giving you and throwing at you right now and to apply that to your actual life. You built your life from the ground up. Babe, that was all you. All this inner work that you've gone through, that was all you. Maybe you've had some helping hands along the way. Maybe you've had a therapist that's helped you through it, or some friends that have really eased your mind through it. At the end of the day, it's you versus you always. You spend the most time with yourself. So give yourself some credit. You've made it this far. Of course you can keep going. Of course you can. Going back to little Lizzie, something about me when I was younger was that I used to carry around a pocketbook. And I vividly remember one of the ones that I had being a fuzzy cheetah print one that low-key would have been fucking trendy nowadays. Not even kidding. But in my pocketbook, I used to fill it with things that I loved. So I loved painting my nails when I was little. I would have my mom paint my nails. So sometimes I would fill it with every single nail polish I owned. That would be in my pocketbook. I loved collecting fun little erasers. You know, the ones that were fun shapes, like little ice cream cones or little pizzas and just fun little shapes. I loved collecting them for some reason. I don't know, I was a little freak, but I would have a pocketbook full of erasers sometimes. And then the other thing that I remember carrying around a lot was the 2 stuffed animals that I have sitting on my lap right now that, oh my God, they've been with me my entire life pretty much. As long as I can remember, I used to bring them everywhere. And why I bring this up is because what I realized from it is that I carried around things that I loved in that bag everywhere I went. Let's take this a step further now. You carry around everything you love inside of you always, right? But society and pressures to fit in make you dim that light, and it makes you almost value those things that make you less, which just dims your sparkle. If you feel like your sparkle is dimmed right now, because I know that it's a new year, and I know that can come with a lot of pressure and rushed timing and comparison, whatever it may be for you. Maybe your sparkle feels a little dimmed right now, and you're trying to find that in this new year. You're making it your goal to find your sparkle this year. What I want you to realize is that the child inside of you always wanted to belong, not to fit in. You never wanted to fit in. You wanted to be places where you felt like you belonged. Because the truth is, when you are being your most authentic self, you are stepping into your highest frequency, and you're not thinking about how others are perceiving you. If you're too much for other people, if you're not fun to be around, whatever it may be, all that bullshit that we try to tell ourselves, we're literally our biggest bully sometimes. It's ridiculous. And when you step into that most authentic version of yourself, like I was saying, it will become so clear to you where you belong and where you don't. You won't have to even ask yourself that question. You're just going to know. You're just going to know, because people will meet you at whatever frequency, whatever level of energy that you are emitting, they will meet you there if they are in alliance with you. If you have to ask yourself if someone aligns with you or not, the answer is probably no. You know when someone aligns with you. You know when your souls are connected in a way that you can't even put into words. Quick little intermission as I hop on here while I'm drinking my mud water. I just wanted to let you guys in on a special little discount for 15% off if you use my link in the show notes below, plus $20 off on top of that if you choose to get the starter pack and subscribe. The starter pack is what I'm drinking right now as I talk to you guys, and I'm not gonna lie, I have been relying on my mud water every single day to help support my gut, to help support my brain. I feel as though when I drink my mud water, my cognitive brain function is so much better throughout the day. I feel like I'm able to find more clarity, and not for nothing, all of the benefits aside, just taking some time throughout your day to make yourself a nice little drink that you know is doing so much good for your body. And sitting in stillness and sipping that drink and reminding yourself that every single sip is you pouring love into yourself is enough as it is. But if that's not enough to convince you, then I just wanted to let you guys in on some of the benefits of mud water. So with their original starter pack, it is a mushroom blend of adaptogenic mushrooms such as lion's mane, cordyceps, chaga, and reishi, which all have individual benefits for your overall health that you can go and research on your own, as well as cinnamon, turmeric, Himalayan salt, cacao, and masala chai. Those are all the ingredients in it. Natural medicine from the earth with ingredients that you can pronounce, with only 35 milligrams of caffeine and 100% organic ingredients. So go get your mud water today if you want to implement a little act of self-love into your life every single day. So moving forward, getting even more spiritual in this episode, because I've been limiting myself since I started this podcast, honestly, on the spirituality aspect. Obviously, we get a little spiritual in this podcast, but I think the thoughts in the back of my head, in my subconscious, have been telling me that I need to focus more on mindset stuff than I do spiritual stuff. And obviously, the two go hand in hand. If you're locked in, you know that. I don't have to further explain that. But I think right now, what I have the title for this podcast episode is Playfulness and Dancing with the Divine. So the divine can be anything to you, whatever higher power you believe is protecting you, right? Because, I've talked to friends before and I've gotten questions before about, how do you know that there's something protecting you though? And to me, it's so obvious because if you just tap in a little bit and you just let gratitude be the forefront of your life and the foundation of your core beliefs, then the universe, that divine light, God, whatever you want to call it, it's all the same thing. We just can't agree on a name. Whatever you want to call it, it will prove to you time and time again that you are protected. Think about the amount of times that you have come close to getting really injured, or maybe even a near-death experience. Have you ever been in a car accident? Sorry if that's a trigger to you and I just brought that up, but I have, and that was a very near-death experience for me. So that's the number one thing I think about when I think about how protected I am. People make fun of angel numbers, and to me, I just see them as a connection to the divine. And, it's their way of sending a message to us to internalize and to fully make meaning of in our own way. I saw this quote once that was like, praying is talking to God or the divine. Intuition is the divine talking back to you. And that has always stuck with me. Whenever I have an intuitive thought that I can't really shake, I know that it's coming from a higher power. And that is placed on my heart for a reason. It came through for a reason. Your thoughts are energy. They emit a currency. Everything in this life is energy. And, sometimes I get in my head and I'm like, oh, I don't want to talk about God or the divine because some people are so closed off to that. But at the same time, the people that I want to attract on this podcast are the people who are open to different concepts, even if you don't believe in anything higher than us in this life. Allow yourself to be open to the possibility. Allow yourself to explore that and to become curious with it. Because I promise you, the second that you become curious with it, you will be given reasons to believe that there is something higher than you. So before I close off this episode, I want to talk to you guys a little bit about what this season means to me and actually announce what this season is. Ladies and gentlemen, we are stepping into the season of the sunflower. So, not only is a sunflower my favorite flower, but it also symbolizes so much that I want to get into with you guys right now. So stick with me. I'm not just going to blatantly talk about sunflowers right now. We're going to get deeper like we always do in this podcast. Everything's connected. It's all going to be full circle. Channeling it back to that inner child that I started this episode talking about. When we think about a wild sunflower in a field, I'm talking about those 12 feet high sunflowers, right? That we cut down to be the same height as every other flower. I'm gonna let that sink in for you guys, right? Because that's a crazy download right there. Like, there is no flower in the world. Maybe you can fact check me on that later, but off the top of my head, there is no flower that stands as tall as the sunflower. And yet we cut it down so that it is the same exact size as every other flower. But that actual bloom that it has, the actual flower bud that it has, is bigger than every flower still, regardless. And I just think that has so much to do with, today's society and how they try to shrink you to be similar to every single version of everyone else in this world, especially for women. If you're listening to this, I know that this hit hard for you because Our entire lives, we are literally taught to fit in because that's how we protect ourselves almost. It's like a defensive mechanism. Like, we don't want to stand out because the more that you stand out, the more people have to say about you. And we already have enough things that society makes us insecure about, and people already have enough to say about you, so you just try to shrink yourself as much as you can. And all that's doing is limiting your potential. In this season, we are going to step into our power. We're going to take up space. A sunflower is not scared of taking up space in a field because it realizes how much fucking space there is in this world. Can we rise above our fears and look down upon all of the destruction that is created in our lives and realize that we are above it? We are a sunflower in a field looking down at all that destruction. To me, sunflowers symbolize positivity and warmth. I mean, how can you not look at a sunflower and just be so happy and feel like you just got a warm hug? They signify vitality and strength and resilience. You are a resilient being. And you know why I know that? Even if I don't know you personally, you know why I know that? Because you are here right now despite of every single thing that you have gone through that you thought would break you. You are still here. Another thing that I love about sunflowers is the fact that they face the light. They literally turn towards the light. Like, are you kidding me? I don't even have to try to make that a metaphor. It already is in itself. They turn towards the sun. How can we turn towards positivity? How can we let that light shine through us instead of turning our backs against it and letting it burn us? Letting that light in, learning to surrender and to trust. And you know what? Sometimes trusting is blind. Sometimes you have to fully blindly trust things in your life and kind of fake it till you make it in order to actually come up on the other end. And I want you guys to explore that a little bit more on your own outside of this episode. What does the word surrender mean to you? What does the word trust mean to you? How do you embody that in your life already? How can you embody that more? There are endless amounts of questions that you can be asking yourself every single day. And guess what, guys? When you pick one word or one thing to think about and you continuously ask yourself questions, you just keep digging deeper on that thing, guess what you're doing right there? You're meditating. Crazy, right? Because we have this thing in our head where meditating is this woo-woo thing where you have to sit down in complete peace and silence and your mind goes completely still and you're thinking about nothing. That is not what meditating is, because that's not what being human is about. We are alive. Therefore, there are constant neurons being stimulated in our brains that are creating these thought currencies that are leading to different thoughts and sometimes creating hypothetical thoughts that haven't even existed, which just proves how fucking cool and creative and imaginative our brains are. Even if we feel like we've lost that childhood self, the next time that you start thinking about a hypothetical situation that hasn't actually happened yet, I want you to remind yourself, oh shit, that little version of me is still inside of me. Like, she's still using her imagination to this day. Another thing I want to remind you guys about in terms of the season of the sunflower is this quote from Rex Orange County. I know that he was canceled. I don't know if he's not canceled anymore. I don't know the deal with that, to be honest. But he has a song called Sunflower. And one of the quotes from it that I'm pulling right now is, "Sunflower still grows at night. Sunflower still grows at night." You are literally growing and expanding when you're resting. So I want you to realize that play can also be restful. And there is no right or wrong way of playing and resting. That can look different for you every single day. Sometimes it can mean literal rest, like laying down and sleeping in your bed. Or it can mean taking a few deep breaths in between your day. It can mean having a little dance party in your room to let out some fuel, because when we physically move our bodies, we are releasing that negative energy and we're letting those endorphins go to our brain, which literally make us happier. So I'm not even going to push you guys to, get on this steady workout routine in 2025. Gotta grind this year. Gotta work. No, literally shake. Stand up and start shaking your body. Stand up and stretch to the side and stretch to the other side and pull your heart forward, and make it that intention while you're moving your body to release any energy that isn't serving you. Make it your intention. Release any blockages. So that is all that I have for you guys today. I'm so excited about not only this entire new year that we have in store for us right now, but I'm so excited for this specific season of the podcast because it's one that I actually have had planned out. And when I mean planned out, I kind of just brainstormed about it months ago, like over the summer. And I always knew that it was coming, but I never really knew when, and I wasn't really in a rush. And right now it just feels so right. It feels so right. So I'm really excited for what's to come. Expect many episodes on things like releasing blockages and stepping into your power and letting the light in, surrendering and trusting and unlearning and learning and taking up space, forgiveness, all of the good stuff, all in the realm of living presently and being connected to that inner child, being connected to the seeds that we planted that are sprouting, that are maybe already blossoming into a sunflower or whatever flower you want to fully embody as your own. We're being kind to ourselves in this new year. We're not bullying ourselves. We're not going to be our biggest hater. We're going to be our biggest fucking cheerleader. Ask yourself, how can I love myself into evolving? How can I love myself into achieving this goal? Rather than just asking yourself, how can I achieve this goal? How can I love myself into achieving this goal? I loved hanging out with you guys today. That was so much fun, and I'm so excited for what's to come. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this episode or you've enjoyed episodes in the past, please feel free to give this show a 5-star rating either on Apple Pods or Spotify, because it really helps me reach like-minded people just like you. Share this episode with someone if you think they might need to hear it. Maybe go send this to your best friend and tell her, bitch, you need to step into your power, listen to this right now. Because maybe you know that she's been a little bit hard on herself right now. And maybe you don't know that. But you subconsciously know that we're all a little bit hard on ourselves. We're all our biggest critic at the end of the day. So inevitably, this episode can really help anyone shake those beliefs. And we will just continue to get deeper and deeper and deeper as time rolls out. That is what this whole show is about. With that being said, my DMs are always open. You can find me on TikTok or Instagram at Patience to Prosperity. They will always be linked in the show notes below, as well as my special journal prompts that I make for you guys, curated to each episode, to go do some of that inner work on your own and release those blockages and become more aware of your limiting beliefs and tap into your highest self without listening to me yap. Or maybe journaling at the same time as you listen to the episode. That could be fun too. Anyways, I also kind of want to tell you guys to leave a review on the podcast because I would love to hear your feedback. What do you want to hear more about? What do you want to hear less about? If you want to hear about specific topics, always feel free to DM me and be like, hey Lizzie, can you please do an episode on this? And I absolutely will. Anyways, I'm done yapping for today. Thank you so much for listening. I appreciate you, I adore you, and I'm so grateful for you. Until next Monday, as always, come as you are and leave a little more healed.